I mean, I never really understood why there are some days where you wake up and your face is just, well, bizarrely puffy.
Oh yeah, like you look in the mirror and barely recognize yourself.
Exactly. It just feels so random. And it's not just the face. It's like, when you just jolt awake at 3 in the morning.
Right, for absolutely no reason your heart is racing a little bit and you were just staring at the ceiling.
Yeah, and you feel so tired, but you just can't get back to sleep. And then, well, the rest of the day is just this weird struggle. Your skin looks kind of dull. And then, almost like clockwork, you hit this crushing wall at 2 p.m.
Oh, the 2 p.m. crash. It is that specific kind of tired where, like, a double coffee doesn't even make a dent.
No, it just makes you feel tired and wired at the exact same time, which is just awful.
It really is.
And, for the longest time, I just assumed this was all normal. Like, society tells us we are just getting older, right?
Right. We just blame it on getting older, or we blame a stressful week at work.
Yeah. We tell ourselves we just had a bad night of sleep, or maybe we just need more willpower. But I have been thinking of this a lot lately, and I realized it is not about willpower at all.
Not even a little bit.
It is actually this quiet breakdown in how our body talks to itself, like a breakdown between the liver, the gut, and our blood sugar.
Which is such a massive shift in how we think about the body. I mean, for so long, we just thought of these as three totally separate things.
Right. Like you would go to 3 different doctors for them.
Exactly. But they're not separate.
Right.
It is one continuous closed loop. It is all linked. And when one part of that chain gets tired or overwhelmed, the other two feel it right away.
It's like a domino effect.
It really is. And I think the beautiful part is that once you see how they connect, you can gently reset the whole system. And, it doesn't take extreme diets or pushing yourself to the brink.
I love that because I think we are all just so tired of extreme diets. So let's kind of trace this back. Where does this whole chain reaction actually begin?
Well, it all starts with the liver.
See, I always pictured the liver as just this passive thing, like a lint trap in a dryer that just catches the bad stuff.
That is such a common idea.
Yeah.
But your liver is so dynamic. It processes so much blood every single minute. It stores sugar. It manages fat. But the biggest thing for our chat today is that the liver makes this fluid called bile.
Okay, bile. I've heard the word, but what does it actually do?
Think of bile as basically the body's natural dish soap.
Oh, wow. Like dish soap.
Yeah, exactly. When you eat fat, the bile acts like a soap to break that fat down so your body can actually use it.
Okay, that makes sense. So if the liver gets overwhelmed or tired, what happens to that dish soap?
It gets thick. The flow just slows way down. It gets really sluggish.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah, and when that bile gets sluggish, your ability to break down fat slows down with it. But the tricky part is, this doesn't just stay in the liver. The effects echo right down into your gut.
And the gut is, well, this is something I just learned that completely shocked me. The gut lining, the actual barrier between the food you eat and your bloodstream, it is only 1 cell thick.
One single cell. It is microscopic.
Right. I always thought of the stomach and the gut like this thick leather pouch.
Most people do, but it is so delicate. Think about the thickness of a soap bubble.
A soap bubble, that is crazy.
And this tiny, delicate layer holds more nerve cells than your entire spinal cord.
Wait, really? More than the spine?
Yes, it is highly sensitive. So when fat isn't being broken down the right way because that liver bile is sluggish, it heavily irritates that tiny single-cell lining of the gut.
It just sits there and bothers it.
Exactly. And when that delicate lining gets inflamed, it loses its tight seal. The cells kind of pull apart.
And that is what people call a leaky gut, right?
Yes, exactly. Because the seal is broken,
Yeah.
tiny bits of food and just bad stuff can literally slip through those microscopic gaps and get right into your blood.
Which naturally makes the body just freak out.
Right. It reacts with this low-grade inflammation everywhere.
And this is where it hits the blood sugar, right? Because I always thought insulin issues were just about eating too many sweet things. Like too much cake. How does a leaky gut and inflammation mess with insulin?
So let's picture how insulin works. Insulin is a hormone, but think of it like a key. Its whole job is to unlock the doors of your cells so that sugar in your blood can go inside and give you energy.
Okay, insulin is the key.
Right. But when you have this low-grade inflammation from the leaky gut, that inflammation acts like sticky chewing gum jammed right inside the keyhole of your cells.
Oh, that is such a good way to see it. So the key just won't turn.
Precisely. The insulin is there, trying to unlock the door, trying to let the sugar in, but because of the gum, the door stays shut.
So the sugar has nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. So your blood sugar just stays high for way too long after you eat.
And that must trigger a total panic in the pancreas, right? Because the pancreas makes the insulin.
Exactly. The pancreas sees all this sugar in the blood and thinks, oh no, the keys aren't working. I need to make more keys.
So it just pumps out more and more insulin.
Yeah, it just works itself to exhaustion.
Right.
And in the end, all that extra sugar that cannot get into the cells just gets sent right back to the liver. And the liver has to turn it into fat.
Wow. It just goes right back to the start. It is like a jammed factory line.
That is a perfect way to describe it.
Like if the worker at the very start of the line, which is the liver, gets too slow, then the middle worker, the gut, just gets totally overwhelmed with unfinished boxes.
Yes, boxes piling up everywhere.
Right. And then the guy at the end of the line, the pancreas, just starts throwing boxes all over the place in a complete panic.
That is exactly what happens. And the thing is, you don't fix a jammed factory line by yelling at the guy at the end.
No, you have to walk all the way back to the start.
You have to fix the first step. And what is so striking about this, this whole chain reaction is how quietly it builds up in the body.
It really is quiet. You don't just wake up one day and it is broken.
No, it builds over years of just small, everyday choices.
Yeah.
It is wild, actually. A huge number of adults have blood sugar issues, even when their routine doctor visits say everything is perfectly normal.
That is staggering. So many people are just walking around feeling exhausted and thinking it is just a normal part of life.
And there is silent liver fat building up in so many of us without any clear signs, even in people who aren't overweight or people who don't even drink alcohol.
It is just tied to the gut and the sugar.
Yes, much more than just simple calories.
Okay, but let me ask you something. If the liver is the starting point of this whole mess and it is struggling because it has too much fat and the bile is sluggish, shouldn't we just stop eating fat?
That is what so many people think.
I mean, if I want to give my liver a break, isn't a zero-fat juice cleanse just the fastest way to clear it out?
I am so glad you asked that because it is one of the biggest myths out there. A zero-fat diet completely backfires.
Wait, really? How?
Well, the big secret in the body is that your liver only releases that bile when fat is actually present in a meal.
Oh, so if you don't eat fat, the dish soap just sits there.
Exactly. The physical presence of fat in your food is the signal that tells the body to drop the bile. If you go on a harsh, low-fat diet to try and save your liver, you are actually leaving that bile to just sit there and get stagnant.
And stagnant bile just gets thicker, right?
Yes, it gets like sludge. It slows down your digestion even more, and it makes the whole loop worse. The goal isn't zero fat. The goal is the right kind of fat, just to keep that bile flowing.
That completely flips everything we hear in normal diet culture. The liver actually needs us to eat fat to keep its own pipes clean.
It really does.
Mm-hmm.
And since we're clearing up myths, there are a few others we should probably touch on.
Oh, definitely. Like, what about all those expensive detox teas?
Oh, the teas. Your liver already cleans you out every single day. That is its actual job.
Right, it doesn't need a $40 tea.
No, it just needs less stress so it can catch up on its own natural backlog.
Okay, what about the myth that skipping meals is good for you? Like starving all day to clear the system?
Irregular eating just creates huge blood sugar swings. You put your whole body on this violent, stressful roller coaster.
It just panics the pancreas again.
Exactly.
And the third myth, this is one I used to believe. If your gut feels off, you just take a giant probiotic pill and everything is magically fixed.
Right, the magic pill. But if you think about it, those pills are full of live, good bugs.
Yeah.
If you swallow those bugs, but you don't eat enough fiber from real plants to feed them, what happens?
Oh, they just starve.
They starve. They just pass right through you without ever setting up camp in your gut.
Okay, so extreme cleanses are out. Starving yourself makes it worse.
Yeah.
And throwing expensive pills at the problem is useless. So how do we actually unjam the line?
We have to step in very gently.
Where is the very first place we start?
The first step is gently waking up that liver bile flow in the morning, getting the soap moving.
How?
One of the simplest things is just warm water and fresh lemon right before you eat anything else.
I see people do that online all the time, but I always thought it was just like a trendy way to drink water.
It is trendy, but there is real biology there. The natural acid in the lemon gently mimics your own stomach acid.
Oh, that is cool.
When it hits an empty stomach, it sends a mild signal that wakes up the liver and tells it to gently squeeze and release some bile.
It is like a gentle alarm clock for the liver.
Exactly.
And I also learned that things like beets and artichokes are amazing for this, but why those veggies? Why not just regular spinach?
Because beets and artichokes have very specific compounds in them, things that actively thin out the bile.
So it makes it less like sludge.
Yes. It acts like a lubricant for the whole fat digestion process.
Okay, so we thin the bile with our food. But what about at night? I noticed that dimming the lights and avoiding screens before bed is supposed to help the liver. Honestly, that feels totally random. How does my living room lamp affect my liver?
It comes down to your nervous system. Your liver does its deep cellular repair work overnight while you are asleep. But it can only do this well if your body is in a true rest state. If you are staring at a bright blue phone screen, your brain thinks it is the middle of the day.
So your body stays on high alert.
Yes, your
Hmm.
stress state stays active. By just dimming the lights, you calm the nervous system down.
Hmm.
And that gives the liver the quiet time it needs to actually do its repair work.
Without competing with the stress. That makes so much sense. Okay, so the bile is flowing, the liver is resting. What is the next step in the factory line?
You move down to the middle worker, the gut. You have to physically patch up that single cell lining we talked about.
The soap bubble.
Right, the leaky bubble.
If there are tiny gaps in that bubble letting bad stuff into the blood, how do we patch them?
This is where a very specific amino acid comes in. It is called L-glutamine.
L-glutamine, where do we get that?
It is in things like warm bone broth or even plain cabbage. L-glutamine is quite literally the favorite food for the cells that make up your gut lining.
So it feeds the bubble.
Yes. When you give those cells their favorite fuel, they have the energy to rebuild and pull back together, sealing up the leaks.
That is so simple, but so powerful. But what about the bugs in the gut, the microbiome? I feel like we just don't eat enough fiber anymore.
We really don't.
Yeah.
Once you patch the leaks with the broth, you have to bring in good bugs. Things like plain yogurt or sauerkraut.
Right, fermented foods.
Yeah. But you have to feed those bugs with a wide range of fiber. You can't just eat the exact same broccoli every single day.
Because different bugs like different foods.
Exactly. You need a gentle rotation of veggies and grains to feed the whole neighborhood.
But let me ask a very practical question here. If I just want to feel better fast, why shouldn't I just eat a massive bowl of beets, sauerkraut, artichokes, and beans all on day one? Just fix it all at once.
Oh, if you do that, I promise you'll be in so much pain.
Just terrible bloating.
Massive bloating.
Yeah.
If you suddenly dump a huge amount of fiber and bugs into a gut that is already tired and inflamed, it ferments too fast.
Lots of gas and cramping.
Exactly. Your body needs time to adapt. A slow, gentle intro, just one new food every few days, is the only way to avoid overwhelming the system.
Slow and steady. I love that approach. It feels kind of kind to the body.
It really is.
Okay, so the liver is awake, the gut is patched, the bugs are fed. But to keep the whole loop from crashing again tomorrow, we have to stop the pancreas from panicking.
Right, we have to manage the blood sugar.
And this brings us to something that just blew my mind. Food sequencing.
Oh, food sequencing is a game changer.
It is wild. You can soften your blood sugar spike without changing a single thing on your plate.
You literally just change the order you eat it in.
Like, think about going to a classic Italian place. You sit down, and the first thing they do is hand you a massive basket of warm bread.
On an empty stomach.
Right. And biologically, that is just the worst thing you can do, isn't it?
It really is. When you eat pure carbs first on an empty stomach, they turn into sugar and hit your blood so fast.
Huge spike.
Huge spike. But if you eat your fiber first, like a side salad or some green beans, that fiber acts like a physical net in your stomach.
It coats the lining.
Yes. It slows down how fast the stomach empties. And then you eat your meat or protein, which keeps things steady.
So by the time you finally eat the pasta at the end,
The absorption of that sugar into your blood is slowed way, way down.
it is the ultimate hack. You still get to eat the pasta, you just eat the salad first.
It is just working with the body, not against it.
And there was another thing about food that amazed me. Resistant starch. People say that cold potatoes and cold rice are somehow better for your blood sugar.
Yes, they are.
But how? How does changing the temperature change the food?
It doesn't change the calories, it changes the physical shape of the food. When you cook a potato and then let it get completely cold in the fridge, the starch physically binds together.
Like it locks up.
Exactly, it locks into this tight crystal shape. And because of that shape, your body cannot break it down quickly.
So it resists digestion.
Yes. So instead of a huge sugar spike, you get a slow, gentle drip of energy.
Just from letting it get cold. That is amazing. And then there's walking. Just taking a short walk after a big meal.
A 10 or 15-minute stroll.
Because the muscles pull the sugar right out of the blood, right?
Yes. When you walk, your leg muscles need energy. They can just soak that sugar right out of your blood, and they don't even need insulin to do it.
Oh, wow. So it bypasses the pancreas entirely?
It takes a huge amount of pressure off the pancreas.
That is so cool. Which actually leads right into the final piece of this whole puzzle, Stress and cortisol.
Ah, yes. Cortisol.
I always knew stress was bad, but how does a stressful drive to work actually mess with my blood sugar?
It goes all the way back to ancient human history. Cortisol is your stress hormone, right?
Right. Fight or flight.
So if a wild animal is chasing you, your brain spikes your cortisol. And that cortisol yells at your liver to dump stored sugar into your blood right away.
Because your muscles need that quick energy to run.
Exactly. But today, you aren't running from a bear.
No, I'm just reading a bad email.
Right. But your body doesn't know the difference. If your stress stays high all day, your liver is just quietly leaking sugar into your blood the entire time.
Regardless of what I ate for lunch.
Exactly.
So to fix this, we have to set a gentle rhythm in the morning, like getting real sunlight in your eyes right when you wake up.
Yes. Natural light tells your brain it is morning in a safe way instead of jolting it with alarm clocks and stress.
And eating a breakfast with protein instead of just a sugary muffin sets a calm tone for the whole day.
It keeps the energy steady. And the other part of the cortisol puzzle is building muscle.
Right, lifting some weights a few times a week.
Because muscle acts like a giant sponge for your blood sugar. The more muscle you have on your body, the more safe storage space you have for that sugar.
Which permanently takes the burden off the liver and the gut. I just love how beautifully all these body parts talk to each other.
It really is a marvel.
And I was thinking about a friend of mine, let's call her Sarah. Her story just perfectly shows how this works in real life.
Oh, yeah. What happened with Sarah?
Well, she is in her mid-30s, and for years she dealt with that exact puffy face, the bloating, and that awful 2 p.m. crash.
The classic signs.
Right. And she thought it was her diet, so she just tried cutting out carbs entirely. She even did one of those brutal juice cleanses.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and predictably, it just left her feeling worse.
Because she was starving her bile flow by cutting out the fat.
Ah,
And probably spiking her sugar with the juice.
exactly. So she just decided to stop fighting her body. She didn't do anything drastic. She just started sequencing her food.
The salad before the pasta.
Yes. She made sure to eat her veggies and protein before her rice at dinner. And honestly, within the first week, her afternoon crash just softened.
That quickly.
Yeah. And then she added some bone broth and a little bit of plain yogurt to patch her gut.
Feeding the good bugs.
And her bloating just calmed down. She told me she finally felt like her energy belonged to her again.
I love that. It shows that working with the body's natural timing is so much better than just starving yourself.
It really is. And then I have another buddy, Michael. He is in his 40s. He never really thought about his liver at all.
Most people don't until there is a problem.
Right. But he found out his liver was just a little sluggish. Nothing crazy, just sluggish.
So what did he do?
He started sequencing his meals too, but his biggest shift was just stopping his habit of eating giant, heavy meals late at night.
Ah, he finally gave his nervous system that rest state it needed.
Yes, he gave his liver the quiet time overnight to actually repair itself instead of forcing it to digest a huge meal while he slept.
And how did he feel?
Within a few weeks, he just felt lighter. He woke up feeling clear instead of foggy. All those mystery signs just vanished because the linked systems were finally talking to each other nicely again.
You know what stands out to me about both Sarah and Michael?
What's that?
The total lack of suffering. Neither of them had to go on some miserable, strict diet to get their energy back. They just learned how the machine works.
That is exactly it. And I think that brings us to the real heart of this whole chat. True wellness. It isn't about buying expensive teas. It isn't about starving yourself.
And it certainly isn't about being perfect.
No, it is about how small, totally normal daily choices, like eating your veggies before your rice, or letting your cooked potatoes get cold in the fridge, or even just turning down the lights at 9 p.m., how those tiny things build up over time.
They really do compound.
These quiet little habits are what unjam the factory line. They bring your liver, your gut, and your blood sugar back into a gentle balance.
Health really isn't a place you just suddenly arrive at. It is just a direction you choose, little by little, every day.
That is so true. And if you were out there feeling those quiet mystery signs, the puffy eyes, the 3 a.m. wake-ups, the heavy afternoon crashes, it is not your body failing you.
Not all.
It might just be your body asking for a better rhythm, just asking for better sequence and timing, not a harsher diet.
I think that is the most hopeful way to look at it.
Which leaves us with something pretty deep to think about. If our deep inner health relies so much on these simple, ancient rhythms,
It's like needing natural morning light.
right, and moving our muscles after we eat and genuinely letting our digestion rest when the sun goes down,
Yeah.
what does that say about the modern 24/7, bright screen, constantly snacking life we have built for ourselves? Are we just fighting our own ancient biology every single day?
These thoughts, these questions, they don't have to stop here. Wellness Geeks has many more podcasts and videos just like this one. Subscribe to the channel and explore other episodes. They all flow the same gentle way. If this podcast felt genuinely useful to again, share it with even one person in your life. That one share can bring a real change in someone's life, and it helps Wellness Geeks reach more people who truly need this. If this brought you real value, look for the join button right next to the Wellness Geeks logo below this video. Click it and become a member of the Wellness Support Circle. Your support helps honest health awareness reach thousands who are silently struggling. Wellness Geeks moves forward because of you. Thank you so much from the heart for being here.